Hey guys, John Soda here, back again doing another movie review, and today we'll be reviewing the second part to the It 1990 miniseries. So the second part to the It 1990 miniseries is directed by Tommy Lee Wallace and features Tim Curry, Richard Thomas, John Ritter, Dennis Christopher, Annette O'Toole, Harry Anderson, Tim Ray, Richard Masur, Olivia Hussey, and I think that's it. So yeah. And the plot to the second part to the 1990 miniseries has the same plot as the first one. Well, in the first part, the kids defeated it, but like they thought they killed it, and then like they made a swear that if it ever comes back, then they'll come back too. So yeah, um, so yeah, and then once that happens, like 30 years later, it comes back, and like yeah, he's not back, and they didn't kill him, so that now the Losers Club are now adults now. They're 40 years old now, and they have to go back to Derry and finish the job and kill it for real. So yeah. Now, do I like the second part of the 1990 miniseries? Yeah, I like it. I like the second part. A lot of people tend to hate the second part so much. A lot of people tend to like think that the second part is what makes the 1990 miniseries flop so much, and that's why a lot of people hate this movie too. Is because of the second part. So yeah. Yeah, a lot of people tend to hate it because like they think that they think that the actors just like suck a lot, like the adult actors like suck at acting. Well, me personally, they don't they do kind of do well, in my opinion, they do sort of like a they do an okay job with acting, I guess. They're not as terrible as other people say they are, but I think they're okay. They're not terribly bad, but they're okay. So yeah, but I still really like them, and like their acting, like it really fit in with the movie like this, and it was perfect for a movie like this. So yeah, let me think. Let me think. Is there anything I should talk about? The characters to this movie, the Losers Club. Once they get older, they are some of them are the same, and some of them have changed. Like Bill Denbrough. I forgot to talk about this in my when I was talking about the book, how Bill Denbrough changed as an adult. So we'll talk about it here because he's the same as he was in the book. So Bill Denbrough, he is now a writer. Like when he was a kid, he always wanted to be a writer, and so he succeeded at that. And he lives in England now with his wife named Audra. So and Audra is an actress, I think. Yeah, Audra is an actress, and then they're making a movie on one of his books. So yeah, but it just opens with like Audra reading the script and all of that at home. So yeah, and then let me think. Yeah, and then like that's basically like Bill's life as an adult. And when he gets called to Derry, like he's just really freaked out, and so he's remembering everything again. So yeah. And then Ben, as an adult, is kind of changed. He's a bit more skinnier now. He still has a little bit of fatness, but he's stocky. Not fat, not skinny. So yeah. But in the second part, in the remake, he was really skinny. But we're not talking about that. So yeah. And then Eddie Cat. Wait, no. I'm still talking about Ben. And Ben, like, he's in architecture now. So yeah. Let me think. Yeah, they captured like a lot of the stuff from the book to here really well when they're adults. So yeah, and they kept most of it in there. Like Eddie, still like in this movie, Eddie lives with his mom. Like he still lives with his mom, and I thought that was a pretty cool touch because Eddie's never like left his mom and all that. He's always been like a mama's boy under his mom's orders. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was better than him. Better than him having a wife just like her. So yeah. Let me think. Yeah, he has the same life as he did as in the book. Like he lives in a small house and yeah. And then we go to Beverly. Now Beverly has the exact same life as she did in the book, with an abusive husband and working at a clothing place. So yeah. And then Richie has like the exact same life. He's a radio show host and a comedian. So yeah, and he's really rich and he has a butler too. So yeah. And then we go to Mike. He has the exact same life as in the book, but here he's he's a little developed in this movie. In the second part, he's really developed. So yeah. So Mike, well, what else is there about Mike? Let me think. Is there anything else about Mike? Oh yeah, Mike. He has the exact same life as in the book. He stayed in Derry. He was the only one to stay in Derry, and he's really poor, and he's a librarian. So yeah, and I forgot to mention that in my book review that he was the librarian. So yeah, and like he just like really like hates his life, just like in the book, and he feels suicidal. So yeah. Let me think. And then Stanley, he has the exact same life as the book. As in the book, he's kind of rich. He lives in a big house with his wife. So yeah, and like in the book, it implied that like Stan and his wife couldn't have kids, nor none of them could have kids, because like it was sort of a curse of what it did to them or something like that. So yeah, but and then like in here like in the movie they actually brought that back. Like they said that like Stan and Patty were gonna wanted to make a kid. So yeah, and then it goes the exact same way as in the book where Stan cuts his wrist right after he gets the call from Mike. So yeah, let's think. Yeah, all the characters are really good in here. Like Bill, you can really tell that like he's having a really hard time remembering about the past like 30 years ago, and he's remembering about Georgie, and he's like, Georgie, how could I have forgotten, and all of that. And you can really tell that he's really freaked out by remembering all this, and so are all the other losers too. So yeah, and that was a pretty cool thing too that this movie kept from the book, was the adults having trouble memorizing and being scared of their memory and all of that. So yeah, that was a pretty cool thing they brought in. So yeah, let me think. Yeah, just all the losers were like that, just like in the book. So yeah. Let me think. What else is there? What else is there? Oh yeah, and then like yeah, and you can just so tell like all these characters want to defeat it again. That they want to defeat it like for real this time, and like they're willing to stay in Derry no matter what horror causes them. They're still willing to stay in Derry and protect it and try to kill Pennywise. So yeah, and they hate and like you can really tell that they hate Pennywise even more now for making Stan kill himself. So yeah. Let's think. Yeah, just all those scenes with them remembering. There's only a little bit of scenes where like it has flashback sequences between when they were kids. Only just a smidge of it, but that was still really cool. So yeah, they captured that really well in this movie. So yeah, yeah, all the characters are really good. And let's think. The setting to this movie was still pretty good. Like it had the same setting as in the first part, and it still really worked. Even when they're adults, it still really worked. And like it was perfect. Like them being haunted by this whole town and like going through like the places they grew up in their childhood. So yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, let's think. Wait, how could I forget to talk about Pennywise? Pennywise in the second part is actually really scary too. Yeah. Say what you want about the second part of the It 1990 miniseries, but Pennywise is still terrifying in this movie. He's still fucking scary. So yeah, just he's the I think he's the one like only good thing of the second part of the It 1990 miniseries. He's like the one peak of it. So yeah, but me personally, I like everything in it. I like the characters and all that. So yeah, let's think. Let me think. What else is there? Oh yeah, just like Pennywise is still really terrifying. Like all the scenes he's in are just really disturbing. So yeah, like how this movie opens, like with Bill being the first one to see it. Like he's in the graveyard and he's like digging up a whole bunch of graves, and he has like 7 graves for like all the losers, and he's like, take your pick, a bur, Billy boy, and then he's like, oh, except for the one on the end. That's already taken. Sorry. Yeah, that part is just really disturbing and really scary. And then Bill's like, I remember you. And I remember we beat you. I am not afraid of you. And then Pennywise shows like his whole ugly teeth, and it's just really scary. So yeah. And then after that, like it shows Richie in the library, which was probably the most scariest scenes of this movie. Like Richie in the library, and like Pennywise is on the second floor of the library, and he's like, beep beep, Richie. Don't you want a balloon? What's the matter? One balloon? Not enough? Try a bunch! And then like a whole bunch of balloons fall, and like they pop, and blood goes everywhere, and like blood goes all over the people's faces, but they don't even care and all of that. So yeah, that scene was really scary. And then blood goes all over Richie's face, and he's like, holy shit, and like he's really scared about it, and like he's trying really hard not to not to believe in it, but like it's just right there, and he's talking to the librarian. So yeah, that scene was really terrifying, and I love that what Pennywise's dialogue in that scene. He was like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do? Well, you better let the poor guy out." Yeah, that's just really disturbing. So yeah, and that dialogue was really good. So yeah, and then he's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, is your refrigerator running? It is. Well, you better catch it before it runs away." Yeah, that's just really good dialogue. So yeah, let me think. And then let me think. Is there any other disturbing scene? Oh yeah, another really disturbing scene was the part that was a scene they captured from the book with Mrs. Kirsch. Yeah, that scene was really disturbing with Pennywise. So yeah, and then like Pennywise like greets her at the door, and he's like, beep beep, and then he starts laughing, and then he closes the door, and then it shows that the house was abandoned. So yeah, that scene was really terrifying too. So yeah, um, yeah, they really did a really good job capturing that scene in here. So yeah, I think they did a bit of a better job with that scene in this movie than in the It Chapter 2. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? And then like yeah, and then that scene was really terrifying when like a balloon appears out of nowhere and it starts floating off. So yeah, that scene was just really scary. So yeah, let me think. Is there any other scary scenes with that? Let me think. Um, let me think. What else is there? Well, yeah, that scene where like Ben like he's driving in the taxi and then he sees it like right on the road and then he's like he has a whole bunch of balloons and he's waving at him. That scene was actually really scary actually. So yeah, and then like a balloon appears like right next to him in the cab and it says "Turn back now." Yeah, that scene was really scary. So yeah, let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Yeah, just Pennywise was still really terrifying in this movie. So yeah, let me think. Yeah, all the actors in this movie, like I said, they did an okay job, I guess. Like, there are some scenes where they act really bad. Like, this scene where like Bev is like talking with Ben. She's like, "Why does it hate? Why is it so mean?" Like, I thought that was really cheesy and really bad acted. So yeah, just a couple of scenes I think are bad acted, but but more other scenes I think are pretty okay acted. So yeah, like when they're remembering their past, I thought those scenes were pretty well acted. So yeah, let me think. The soundtrack was still pretty amazing this time around. They used the exact same soundtrack as in the first part, but it was still really good, and it's just really beautiful too. I even catch myself listening to that soundtrack too. And I think I might like that soundtrack just a little better than just a smidge better than the soundtrack in the new movies. But the soundtrack in the new movies are really beautiful too. But I personally like this soundtrack a little more. So yeah. Let me think. Yeah, you guys might know what I'm talking about. The sad music that plays. Yeah. Let me think. Yeah, this movie did. I don't think this part had any, much of comic relief. I think that's another negative too. Was oh wait this. It only had like a smidge of comic relief in it, but like that was my other complaint too, cause like in the book, like the losers are supposed to be really funny too, but in here, like they're not really that funny in the second part, so that's another negative I have with it too. But a really funny scene I picked up was the scene in the Chinese restaurant, where, like all the dialogue in that scene was pretty funny. So yeah, yeah, that was the funniest scene in the movie. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Henry Bowers does return in the second part of the movie. Like they captured that exact same thing from the book. So yeah, but except like Henry had like white hair. So yeah, and they captured Pennywise and the moon beautifully in this movie. Pennywise's face in the moon. They captured it terrifyingly. That was probably another one of the scariest scenes of this entire miniseries actually. Just Pennywise's face on the moon. So yeah, that was really scary. And he's just telling Henry to kill them all. And you can hear like a secondary voice too. Like you can hear the clown's voice and then a deep voice right next to it too. And it's just really scary. So yeah. Let me think. And then like yeah, they captured that scene when he saw Victor under the bed, but it's not Victor, it's Belch this time. A really minor nitpick I have is that when he sees Belch under the bed, he's just like, "Belch, what are you doing down there?" I thought that was pretty cheesy and pretty I thought that was just bad dialogue right there. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Yeah, and then they captured the scene again with like Pennywise turning into a dog in that scene, but that scene I thought was more silly than scary. So yeah, but in the book it was pretty scary, but I didn't think they captured it very well in this movie. So yeah, let me think. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Yeah, the pacing to this movie was pretty good, but it went by a little more it went by a little more slower than the first part, but it still went by a little fast though. So yeah, and barely like yeah, and everyone knows that in the second part like barely much of anything happens. So yeah, but it's done in a good way though. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Yeah, the pacing was just pretty good. So yeah. Let me think. Yeah. Tommy Lee Wallace had an okay heart with making this the second part. So yeah. Yeah, just like everyone knows that like like it's always like the adults that are bad acted. Like even in the first part too, like all the scenes with the adults, like Beverly's dad and like the teachers, like they act pretty bad too. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Yeah, this movie did get really suspenseful at times too, and it worked. So yeah. Let me think. Oh yeah, just like let me think. Yeah, I really liked in the beginning like Bill and Mike's like friendship in that scene, and like they remember and like they start riding the silver bike next to the school. So yeah, and then like while that scene's playing, there's another they remember when they were kids and they did that. So yeah, that was a pretty cute scene. So yeah. Let me think. What else is there? Yeah, cause like, Bill was the first one to go there, so like he was the one that had the most with Mike, and he's the one with the closest friendship with Mike. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say about Mike? Hmm. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say about that scene? I don't think there's anything else to say, but let me think. Yeah, that I really like that Chinese restaurant scene where like a lot of crazy shit comes out of the fortune cookies, like an eyeball, blood, a bird, a cockroach, and like even like it grows teeth too. And that scene was just really scary. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else? Yeah, I really like the scene where Stan's head appeared in the fridge. Oh yeah, I really love the scene. This was one of my favorite scenes in the entire miniseries. Was when they get the news that like Stan died and he cut his wrist in the bathtub, and then like they're remembering everything, and then like Bill remembers Stan's encounter with it, which was not in the first part, but it was in this part, but when they were kids. So yeah, he remembers like Stan's encounter with it in the when they were kids, and that scene was really scary actually. Like just the music that built it in that scene, the tension and all of that was so scary. And like it started with like Bill picking up Stan because he was like running in the field, and then like he said that he just saw Stan running, like something was after him, and like he was pedaling too fast to see what was behind them and all of that. Like he personally didn't want to see what's behind them. And then he said it took him hours to calm down, and then like after a while he told them like what happened. He said he was watching birds. He was watching birds on Lampkin Park like a good Boy Scout. He called it collecting birds, and then like in that scene like he's just like watching birds, and then like there's this big mansion in the park, and then it's calling his name, like it's whispering his name, Stan, Stan. That scene's just really scary. And then like Stan just like goes in there, and then you hear Bill's voice in the background. Like he said he didn't mean to go into that house, but this voice kept whispering to him, and he figured for being Stan that there could be a rational explanation. And then like when Stan goes in there, the whispering continues, and like it's so dark inside the house, like the curtains are closed and it's just really dark, and that scene's just really scary. Like when he goes inside, the closed door is by itself, and then he's trying to go out but it's locked, and then like coming down the stairs is a mummy. Is Pennywise turned into a mummy, and like the mummy, the makeup work in that scene and the way the mummy looked was just really scary. And then like he's just walking toward him, and then like Stan just like gets his book, and he just like starts saying bird names so like he could like take away the fear, and like a shield and all of that. And then like once that happens, the mummy like just like walks like backwards, and then like Stan continues saying the names, and then he barely makes it out. Yeah, that scene was really really scary. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else? I really liked how they still brought in Audra following Bill to Derry, but like they didn't bring in when Tom came in too. But like I wish they could have brought Tom coming in, but I really liked when they brought Audra in. But and then like Pennywise was the one to capture her, so yeah. Um, Let me think. Let me think. Yeah, I really like the scene where like Mike like tells them all the histories of Derry and all of that. That every 30 years he comes back. And that was like I think the only change. That was one of the changes they did, minor changes. But like I can see why they did that because 27 is kind of a hard name, kind of a hard number to remember. But 30 is really simple. So yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Uh, Let me think. Oh yeah, I really like when like Henry returns and like he stabs Mike and then he stabs Mike and like that gets Mike really injured and then he's calling him the N word and all of that and then like Ben and Eddie barely make it there to like rescue him and like they take Henry off Mike and then that's what makes Mike like stab Henry right like on the stomach and then he dies right there. So yeah, that was a pretty good scene. So yeah. Let me think. Yeah, and I really liked how they kept like Mike in the hospital that he doesn't like go to fight it with them. So yeah, that was pretty cool too. But I wish they could have like brought in the storm of Derry, the storm that happened in that what in the end when they were on their way to the sewer. So yeah, and they should have brought where like the doctor was trying to attack him or something like that. So yeah, let me think. Yeah, just like the way this movie ended, it ended the exact same way as in the book. Well, not the exact same way. They didn't bring in the ritual of Chud or the Macroverse or anything like that. But they did bring in the Deadlights, but didn't show what was inside the Deadlights. It just showed that it paranoids you and all of that. So yeah, but it was a really cool it was a really cool ending. It ended really well with like Pennywise turning into a spider and all of that. So yeah, but I thought most of the effects for the spider looked kind of shitty at times, but at other times it actually looked kind of real. So yeah, I thought they captured the spider okay in this movie. So yeah. Let me think. Yeah, just it ended the same way the book did, just a couple changes here and there. So yeah, I really like the second part of the 1990 miniseries. Yeah, I rated an A minus. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. So yeah, that'll be another review. Bye, and see you all in the next review.